Okay, I think we are going live now.
Yay.
I think we're live. Yes, we are. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I've got the glorious Kia West with me here today. I can see we are live. I'm just going to put my little phone here so I can see any questions or comments that come up. If you've got a question or comment for Kia or myself, please do drop it in the comments. But first, I just want to say thank you, Kia. Thank you for coming and joining me and getting to hang out and chat today.
Thank you for inviting me. I have been hanging out to hang out with you. I just adore spending time with you. So yeah, this is going to be fun.
Oh, it really, really is. So Kia and Kia has so graciously said she will come and talk to me and you all about her experience with the Money Healing Mastermind. So Kia we started March, end of March. Kia was in that intake for the Money Healing Mastermind. And yeah, so we're just going to talk all things mastermind. If you've got a question about it, let me know. The next round does launch in September. So this is part of the launch for that. But also, as Kia says, I love hanging out with this woman too. So any excuse really, launch or not, any excuse to get to hang out with Kia is always amazing. Oh, we've got Chantel here. Hi, Chantel. If you're here live, say hello to us. And also, as always, if you're catching the replay, give us a hashtag replay or after party so we know you've been here. But yes, amazing. So let's just jump straight in, shall we, Kia?
Okay.
What drew you to the mastermind? Tell us a little bit about why you joined the Money Healing Mastermind.
Cool. Well, I guess around the time, like, you were showing up all over the place, I was seeing all about the Money Healing Mastermind. And it was kind of at the like I was halfway through doing the third level with the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence, and it was definitely coming into my field that I would like to be doing the postgraduate course, the spiritual directorship. And I'd kind of made my way through the third level, like defaulting every single month, and even coming into the third level, I somehow just knew by the end of the third level that I would be making these payments regularly. But then going into the decision making of going into postgrad, where I would then have to come up with some more money to continue those payments, there was a lot of fear around that. And so that kind of coincided with when you were in launch for Money Healing Mastermind, and yeah, I just knew that I had to do it. I had to do it. And yeah, that was a huge part of me wanting to do the postgrad was a huge part of me saying yes to the Money Healing Mastermind, because I knew that would be supportive of me financially in the ongoing payments of postgrad.
Absolutely. So you obviously came in then to the mastermind with wanting to achieve a certain outcome, and
Yes.
that was that besides the money to move in to do further studies. Yeah. Was that the main reason to come on in?
Well, the intention that I actually held in within that container, within the Money Healing Mastermind, was to have ultimate clarity around my service. Again, being where I was at in the third level, I wasn't entirely sure how I was going to take what I was, my qualification, and where I was going to go with it. I kind of had, ideas and inspired ideas, which are very, very, they come in hard and fast for me. But yeah, there was no grounding of direction, or there's no clarity around what my service was actually going to look like. It was all just, airy fairy ideas at that point. So yeah, there was a lot in what I could see I would get from doing the course.
Beautiful. I love that. Okay, so if someone asked you what the Money Healing Mastermind was all about, how would you explain it?
Okay, I would explain it as a passionate, intention and attention on everything that is creating your financial reality. So, you go in and that's what you're there to do. You're there to shine a light on everything that is true for you, whether you know it or whether it is, you're a victim of it. And yeah, I'm not sure if that even makes sense, but that's that's what it was for me. That's what I knew it was going to be for me. And yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I know, I do. I love that explanation of it. And I love hearing other people try and explain what the Money Healing Mastermind is about, because as I've said before, I don't really go into a lot of detail about what's going to occur. Like, I've never shared the modules or what we do on this week or what we do on that week, because it is very much all about this journey about creating your financial abundance or your own belief system around money, and being able to, understand the limitlessness you have around abundance. And I just love hearing how everyone else describes it. That was amazing. Thank you. So tell me, what was your money mindset like before you came into the mastermind?
Scattered was the word that came through first. Look, I think I remember the first conversation that we had in the space of the Money Healing Mastermind. And, I felt like, I remember saying, I feel like it's just there. Like, if I have my hand reached out, I could just touch it. Like, it's just out of my reach. And so there was this separation that I was very well aware of, and it was driving me mad, how, like, I could see it, I could feel it, I could, all of my abundance was right there, but I couldn't grab it. I couldn't touch it. So that was a huge one for me, and though that wasn't necessarily, there was so much inside my mindset. That's why I did the course, because there was a lot to unpack there, but that was really quite prominent for me in kind of guiding me to there. I kind of felt like that was also guiding me into to really work on my mindset and vibration around money. So, that mindset was ultimately keeping me stuck in that lack, keeping me stuck in the belief that, I can't touch it, actually, it's there, but it's not there. And that was a huge belief to bring to the surface. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that you touched on that, because so many people have said similar things, like, I feel like it's so close, like I'm so close to receiving it, but I don't know, something's blocking me. And we come back to that truth that we're blocking ourselves. Yeah, abundance is always there, money is always there, but we have all these blocks, all these beliefs and our own truths, which normally are not truth, sitting in the way, blocking ourselves. So I love that description of feeling like it's so close but so far away, and that it's unattainable. And yes, very much so. If that's what we're feeling inside, reality is like, okay, you want it to be untouchable, there you go. There you go.
Put it on the string.
Have some more of that. That's what you think it's like.
Yeah.
So and I love that's we get to choose, we get to change that. Yeah. So what's it like now? Tell me, you finished the mastermind in June, so a couple of months out now. What's your money mindset like now?
My money mindset now is that there is no separation. I really and I still have to meet the fears of separation to my money every damn day, but the vibration that I hold and intentionally hold is that I am whole with my abundance, and that is unlimited. And it's interesting. So after doing Money Healing Mastermind, it wasn't something that I have to, once I've done it, once I've graduated it, then, I'm abundant here from this point onwards. It really was a foundation for me to set myself up with practices, with holding that intention and attention on, my mindset, on my vibration, and how I feel about money, and how, all of those things. It really primed me and set me up to integrate with what we learn from in there. And what's really quite funny is, that that phase, I suppose, or where I was then, it was very much around myself. It was around, what I could achieve for myself within my role in service, and what I have to offer to the world. And that the intentions were totally met from for myself at that phase, where I was in my life then. And now it's kind of evolving and pushing me into this intention and attention on how I can now focus that in through my service and my business. So Kia Creative Channel is, I think, about 5 weeks old now, since I've qualified and launched. So now there's a whole heap of mindset and vibrations that I have to meet with creating and generating that income source through that as an entity, or as a channel for income and sales to come through. And so, I think where I'm going with that is that it's not there's no top of the mountain. It's always part of the, my evolution. It's part of me devoting to my evolution, is to continue that intention and attention. And yeah, so that's where I'm getting pushed now, is to really bring that into Kia Creative Channel and start to do that same work for this part of me. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, because the work never ends, does it? It's a constant cycle, and there's always constantly the new fears that rise up, or a new layer of what we've already faced. But because when we have the tools and we have the knowledge now, we also have the choice. So we get to say, okay, well then where am I going to go now? What am I going to meet today? Oh yes, I've met this one before. It's maybe on a greater level, but I know exactly what is showing up today.
Yeah.
And yes, the mastermind, you can pull it from your personal lifestyle back into your business as well, bring all that foundation in. But you're right, we travel and held so securely as we travel through the mastermind together. And then at the end of it, it doesn't mean like, okay, everything's going to be magical. You're like, okay, you've been given that support, you've been held, you've got all the tools over the 13 weeks, we have cleared this level, that level, and then you get to take that out and use that as you continue your journey and your abundant journey through life. Yeah. I love that reminder. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's really cool. And one of the things that we are taught in the mastermind is our subconscious beliefs around money. They will show up to us. For me, that they've been showing up outside of me. And it's in the disbelief that comes to me. It's what I'm finding interesting is that the people who I'm seeing in my field, they're showing me where I'm holding on to, the subconscious beliefs that I'm still, holding on to. And so what I've kind of evolved into, how I meet with that, is reframing, what those fears or those mindsets are. I'll give you an example. I've been getting a lot of inboxes from people. I've been getting a large number of friend requests, and I get a lot of inboxes around, join me in this, or there was one who said, hey, so did you want this cash? And I'm just like, okay, sure. But where I go with it is like, I redirect whatever it is that I'm observing from what's coming at me into an opportunity. So, when they're saying, hey, do you want this cash? Yeah, look, if you want to book in, here's my link.
I love that.
I love your cash. Like, you can pay me this way. We can work together. I had someone else who was saying, there's this whole spiel around, she wanted me to share something of hers. I don't know this person. We've never engaged before. We've never interacted before. And so, again, I offered her a potential to be visible, which is something that I'm really passionate about. It was part of my offering and part of my service. and suggested, if you're wanting to put yourself out there, if you're wanting to be visible, here's how we can do it together. And then, so everything that's coming into my field is my opportunity to reframe it in my own way. That is yeah, it's kind of a fun way that I meet my subconscious fears around money.
I love that. Yeah, every way. And that's also signifying to the universe, yeah, I'm here and I'm ready. Bring it on.
Yeah.
I love
It is
all
normal.
that.
This is how
Yeah.
we do it. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you, Kia. Just checking the comments. Hi, Karen joining us as well. And Chantel, if you're here live with us, say hello. And if you've got any questions you want to ask Kia or myself, of course, drop them in the chat box. Let us know. I've got my eye on it now, so I can let Kia know any questions that come through. But I'm getting to chat to the glorious Kia all about the Money Healing Mastermind, which she finished a couple of months ago, and has just been such a pleasure to have her in the project and also have her here getting to chat to us. So let's dive back into the mastermind. Was there a big aha moment at any stage as you process through the mastermind? Anything that you recall that's really stuck in your head?
Oh gosh, there were so many. Like an aha for me, okay, hang on. An aha moment. I think the practices, the aha moment. And I think that has a lot to do with how you structured the curriculum as well, and how you structured the course, being that it was, we did all of the energetic work first, and then, then we moved into some practical stuff. And that was huge for me, because that's kind of where we were at in the third level as well. That's where we were moving into this sort of paradigm. And it's the way that I live my life now is everything is energy first, and then the physical. And so having that to kind of reinforce that through learning with you and relating it and transferring it to my money as well, was huge, like massive aha. And it's a huge aha because it's so opposite to what we know. It's so opposite to how we have been conditioned to live. We are totally in a society where it's, run, busy, do it, work from, never see your children because you're always at work, and that's how I was raised. So then to kind of, to have the energy first, come through as, no, this is actually how we do it. And this is how we actually get to do it and experience far more joy from doing it this way too. And that was a huge aha moment.
I love how you've touched on that, because yes, the mastermind is that 2 phases. We have that energetic session on the Mondays, and then we move into the practical on the Fridays. And it is changing the whole way that we've dealt with money before. Yeah. And I was very similar to you. I was brought up with, you've got to work as hard as you possibly can. You've got to study as hard, starting off with study, you've got to study as hard as you can to get the best job, which will earn the most money. And there was never anything under there about joy or what you want to do or what brings you satisfaction. It was like, you've just got to work hard and you've got to earn money, otherwise you can't live. And I spent so many of my years as well living in that paradigm. So it's so much joy to be able to say, actually, no, that's an old story. That's just was one of my stories, and I now that's no longer needed. And you get to choose as well. You get to make your own choice of how you receive, what money is to you, how it feels, how much joy it can bring you, and just rewrite all of those stories. And I love that we get to do that. Rewrite any of the stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other aha moment that came through there was the snowballing. You're actually paying off debts. That was huge. And that was the first, that I think that was maybe even the somewhere towards the start of the course. And that really was, I guess for me, I didn't know what to do with debt prior to that. I had no idea how to, and when I learned about it and how you taught it, it was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Like, and I think from there, I think it was only a matter of weeks before I had knocked off 4 or 5 of my bills that I'd purely been hiding from, because, you know, the bigger ones were far more superior and they took so much more energy and overwhelm from me. Yeah, so that was huge. That was a massive, and that continued to snowball my results from that mastermind as well. So I loved it.
That. Yeah, I love that as well. And yes, because as I say, that's part of the practical side. We energetically we definitely do the clearance, but in the practical, like, all right, so let's have a look at your numbers. Let's have a look at your debt. Let's have a look how we can reduce that. And all, like, as everything, you don't have to take on the suggestions that are given to you as guidance, but when the ones that are calling you and you're able to do that work, it's, yeah, I love seeing it and watching the debt just disappear. Like, go.
Oh, I get excited just thinking about when they paid off. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and it is, and it should be a celebration as well. Like, and that's like in such gratitude for the money that's coming in, gratitude for yourself for the work and that you've done it, and yeah, celebration that it's no longer there, because that also, all those, that debt can, I know there's good and bad debt, but that if it's debt that you're ignoring and you've got that negative attachment to it, it drags you down. It, like, can weigh heavy on you, and that in itself has an energetic consequence. As we learnt,
yes,
it has an energetic consequence as well. So it's, yeah, definitely to move it out. Oh, we have gorgeous Leonie saying here too. Hi, Leonie. Sorry, I just pronounced your name wrong. I read it. Oh, I will get your pronunciation of your name right soon, Leonie. It's only been 2 years, I think. Sorry, lovely.
Hi, beautiful woman.
Lovely. Yeah, lovely for you all to join us and getting to talk to glorious Kia about the Money Healing Mastermind. And as always, it's beautiful to hang on out with her. Okay, so let me have a think. What else can I ask you about the mastermind?
I do want to mention one of, I know these were we're talking aha moments here, but one of the things that I loved, and that was probably the most potent as far as you know, anything else out of it, really, was the intention holding.
Oh, I'm glad you touched on this, because I was going to ask you.
Because you know, when it came to setting the intention, you know, which was to have that clarity around what my service was, you know, and we held the intention. I think, you know, even part of the wording was something like, you will know without a shadow of a doubt, you'll have so much clarity, it'll just be so strong within you that you will know. And it's funny because, like, so afterwards, you know, there was this period, and I think it wasn't maybe that long, it was maybe 3 to 4 weeks after we first set that intention, but, you know, everything that did kind of drop in, I was like, oh, that's it. You know? And then when the whole sort of picture kind of formed, it was just the words that we held and we set, you know, they were so alive in that moment that I just knew. And it was, that for me was just so spectacular, so powerful. And you know, even that process of going in and doing the intention setting was just beautiful. It's just delicious.
Oh, thank you. I have to say, it's possibly one of my favorite parts of the, like, well, I love it all, but getting to set the intention. So just for anyone who obviously hasn't done the mastermind, every Friday we hold intentions for each other. So I will intuitively call on who I feel is ready to set their intention, and the lead up will sort of work together to get an intention that is quite concise and precise and clear. And then as a collective, we will set the intention and hold it for that person. And it is such a powerful process. It is such a powerful process. And to the intentions that have been set, and then to see it all unfold and all come in and be brought into reality, their reality, is just, it blows me away every time. Like, it seriously does. The intention just drops in with such certainty, and we hold it with such fierceness in that container. And then when I get the messages come through going, oh my goodness, this has happened and that's happened, and I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. It's that whole being part of something greater than ourselves, and giving, but then also being able to just receive, because again, it is learning how to receive, because again, that can, for women especially, receiving, whether that is gratitude, money, and a kindness, and holding an intention for ourselves, can be quite a hard thing to do. So we just get to blow all that out the water.
Yeah.
Set these intentions, hold these intentions. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for bringing that to mind, because yes, I love those intentions. That's every Friday. So Mondays are energetic, Fridays are practical, but we just kick off the Fridays with that intention setting and then move into the practical work as well. Leonie just said, I have uncovered an interesting money belief, as I am working more with corporates and have no issue being well paid, but I always wanted to give my products away for free for mums. That is very interesting. Yep. So you're okay receiving from corporations, but when it comes to the individual, so faceless corporations you can receive money from, but when it comes to that individual who you know and has that identity, then you can't receive from them. I love that. I love that investigation. I can't wait to hear more about where you go, where that takes you, Lenny. Let us know what you're doing about that. Yeah. And how that's feeling, because yes, that is a beautiful place. And I always say awareness is the first place for us to start, understanding and being aware of what's occurring, and then getting to really dive deep and decide whether we want to keep that or not. And then moving that out. Thank you, Lena. Lena said it sounds like a wonderful program. I adore facilitating it. Like, I absolutely do.
I would recommend it to everyone. I think, I think there was somewhere in the mastermind as well that you had spoken about this being so alive for you in the movement that you bring to the world. And it is just so, so, so needed. And I know you work specifically with women, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Again, so, so, so needed to have, abundant women leading in our world. And I am behind you 100% of the way.
Amazing. Thank you.
Over and over again.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like, the world is crying out for women to have power and control, which equals money. Like, whether you like that or not, the more money you have, the more power you have. And God damn it, imagine a world that's run by heart-centered women. Like, imagine that world. Seriously, that's the intention I'm holding. And and when I see all these glorious women, you've heard me have this spiel before, but I get so excited when I see these glorious women with such amazing work to bring to the world and such service, and they're not shining their light because they've got money problems, like money blocks or money issues. I'm like, no, like, we can deal with that. Let's get rid of those so you can shine your freaking light and change the world. That's just what just like lights me up, because I know the more women I help, the more they help, and it's just that whole exponential growth. So
absolutely. So if you've got your money blocks, go see Brooke, and then you can come see me for your visibility blocks.
Amazing.
Love it.
So tell me, how has the mastermind changed you? Not changed you, or changed things for you, life for you? What has occurred?
Well, the income has been lovely. And I think, it's what's really cool and something that I'm really grateful for, and how my life has changed, is that, you've been talking a lot about choice today in our conversation. And that's something that I can take or have taken from this, is that I always have a choice. Every single fleeting moment, I always have a choice. And that's something that I do take with me. And even if it's a choice, the choice ultimately being my perception or my beliefs, or, so that fleeting moment, it's that has been a real coming into an acceptance as well of that truth, that I get to choose what my perception is in any given moment. So when I do have the fears that are rising around money, around sales, around moving, my channel of income into my new business, I get to choose what to do with that. And I think how life has changed for me from that is that I tend to choose from my heart a lot more often. So that's huge. And it's also, I think one of the biggest, well, one of a large collection of the beliefs that I let go of in Money Healing Mastermind were, familial patterns and things that I have had stories around, where all of my money blocks came from. And I'm meeting that consciously with my children now, implementing these strategies that I learned, especially in a very practical sense. Teaching my kids profit first has been really fun. That it's interesting, even with my children, how they reflect back to me, how they feel about that. I have one who's like, he loves it. He thinks it's really cool. He loves seeing his money getting, organized and managed. And then I've got one who hates it and he just wants to spend it all. So, the other two are still quite young, so they don't come into this conversation for this. But yeah, it's for me, that is me taking my self-responsibility and being that choice and taking that choice to then continue that through down. I've had, the stories are gone now, so I get to write different stories for my children, which is really cool.
I love that. And you're so right, because there is a big emphasis on that self-responsibility throughout the whole program. Like I start the program telling you that, yes, it's a money healing mastermind, but I don't do the healing. You have to show up. I hold the container, I create the space, I've got the tools that I share with you. But at the end of the day, you've got to take that self-responsibility and be ready and willing to meet those stories, meet those fears, make that choice. And yes, it's always a big one though, that familial stories, which is why we start down in that base chakra and having a look at our tribe and the stories that we've picked up there, and then getting to make that choice and be that difference in that generational pattern, actually being able to say, okay, well, that's been our generational story for however many years. But I'm choosing now to make a new one. I'm choosing now to actually teach my children a different way. And allowing that is just, I love all of that.
Yeah, it feels amazing. It feels powerful. There's this, I feel like I can't even articulate what that feels like inside. It's just so big. It feels, I don't know. What I am sort of feeling into is what life will be like for them, I guess. And that is just a real privilege that I just love.
That's that glorious byproduct of what excites me as well, is being able to teach the next generation. I get so excited about the next generation of women who are going to come through and the choices that they're going to make based on everything that we've learned and we are doing and showing up in the different ways that we are creating abundance. That as well is just so super exciting for me.
Yes.
So you can probably tell.
Me too.
So would you mind sharing with us what one of your money fears were? What was one of the stories you had to meet, or along those lines?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, it's funny because it's kind of it's been popping up for me a little bit today. And so one of the big ones, it surfaced during the Healing Mastermind, and that was that I was afraid to be visible with my financial success. And I was scared that if I was loud about it, that it would send people running, and that there was all of these outcomes that I thought might occur. And it's then I met that fear one morning. So it was after Money Healing Mastermind, and I was doing the tracking my income, and I saw that I was in my 4th month of earning almost 15 grand for the month. And I was kind of shooketh because I was like, that subconsciously, obviously there was while I was in that container, I was like, yeah. But then coming out of that, there was some doubts that, can I keep this going? Can I truly, create what I know exists for me always. And so when it came to that fourth month of a really generous income, that I was just like so excited, and I met that discomfort and fear, and I was very visible with that, and that felt really good, and then it surfaced for me the fears that kept on surfacing from that. I had a lot of people that would give me some doubts, and then would reflect to me like all of these different things and perceptions, and knowing what I know, being a priestess of consciousness, I take responsibility for, even though it's coming from outside of me, then it exists inside of me too. But again, they were just opportunities to meet that fear freaking loudly and head on, because I guess for me, there was what was coming through this morning when I was processing this, because it's something that came up through my devotions, and when I was tapping. I had, there's people who are in my field who are very visible with their financial success. And I remember when I set the goal, a couple of months ago, I set a goal, 20 grand for a month. And it was like the day of, I'd just written down, this is where I'm going for this month. And I watched this woman on my timeline, and she had just hit 50 grand for the month. And I was like, fuck, I'm setting my bar too low. Like, And so, that is something that I have come to realize, that when I am visible with what I am creating in my life, then that creates the possibility and potential for others to be able to do the same. And because ultimately all it is energy, right? All that I am creating is an energetic match to then have that come into my physical reality, which then therefore makes it entirely possible for everyone. So yeah, that was a big one to meet, and again right now. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. And I love that, because as I say, yes, we clear them and we shift through them, and then there's always like another layer which can be sitting there. And then when that rises to, we're like, okay, well, I know what to do with this now. Yeah, I've got the tools, I know the process.
Yeah,
we can make that back. No, we can meet it again. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Sure. We have some other glorious people here watching us. If you've got any questions for myself or Kia, please drop it in the comment box. Let me know. I'm going to do a quick time check so I can see. Oh my goodness, nearly 40 minutes already. Goodness, time does fly when you're having fun. It is all true.
Yeah.
So what am I going to ask? I did write down a couple of questions, even though I was like, here, we'll just wing it, and we pretty much have the whole time. Which is what I love. But I'm asking this question, so I'm going to ask you.
Sure.
Why do you love money?
I love money because it increases my power to serve, and I get to show up in my true authenticity, and I get to create an environment for my children and I to learn and evolve in. I get to create the contents of my heart into this physical plane. Just to name a few.
I love it all. Yes, one of those questions you're used to, because I do ask quite a few times in the mastermind. Remind yourself, why do you love money?
It's something that is part of my devotions, is why I love money. If that was one thing that I have done consistently every single day from the Money Mastermind, is just that, is to be very clear around why I love money. And it was an interesting one too, because even though my tracking, I'm going to give myself the humility stick here, that the money tracking is not something that I'm consistent with. It's something that I am working to be more consistent with. But what was really cool, and when I did transfer that, from my devotions into money tracking, is that you can, it's the days, I've always got something that I love about money, but it kind of transfers, the days that I receive an income or receive money, when I transfer, how I was feeling about money from on that particular day over, it's really interesting how that kind of, how they match up and marry up. And, even on the days where I might not receive a single cent, and transferring that energy that I'm cultivating on that day over. Yeah, it's really interesting. I thought it was really cool to observe that. It was something that I kind of like to log, and just that's what I track, my feeling state towards money.
Yes, yeah, and I love that, because on the spreadsheet we've got a separate thing for vibration, so you can, because it is so, as you say, so very interesting when we start tracking how we're actually feeling internally against what our income was we received that day. And if we're receiving zero amounts, however, for say a week in a row, and then we're checking our vibration of like, oh yeah, 30, 40, 50, quite shitty today, and we can like have a look in those days where we've shown up and we have been present in our business or at our job, wherever it is, and we can see that income that's been reflected in it because our vibration has been such a big part of it, which is why we have to have that energetic side to the program. And at the same time, that's why we also need the practical side to track, and the practical side for debt reduction, and the practical side to show up in your life and practically in your business as well, because you can't have one without the other. You can't have the energetic side without the practical. You can't just do the practical and push yourself like ragged and stressed without the energetic. Like you need the two. And then that glorious like mindset that shifts in between that energetic and practical. It's just an amazing combination of all of the areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Let me quickly just check the comments. I can't, lots of people here watching saying hi, but no questions, which is absolutely okay. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on the mastermind for anyone who is watching as well. So it's a 13-week journey. So the next round begins the 14th of September, and this is going to be the last round for 2020. And so it's also going to be the last, I hate doing the like getting before the price rise, but it's also going to be the last. I also want to make sure everyone knows the price is going up next year. It was meant to go up this round, but I held it because there were people who couldn't get in the last intake because it was fully booked. So I kept the price for them this time, and I've decided to hold it across the board. So it prices do go up next year. So if you're looking at it, it's on your radar, let us know. 14th of September. This round's going to be a little bit different. So previously we've held the space for 8 to 10, or 8 women has been held the space. This round, the cap's coming off. Like the numbers are going to be what they are going to be. I'm not going to stop anyone from joining the program. The last 3 times I've run this, I've had to put people on the waiting list for the next round. So this one's a little bit different. We're going to open up the numbers. We're already at 8 at the moment. So yeah, if you're wanting to come and join us, 14th of September starts, and then we go all the way to the 7th of December when we have our closing circle. And that in itself is such a powerful process to go through. And yeah, we just spend the 12 full weeks going through all of the energetic side of our own being and our subconscious, and all the fears that are there, and the beliefs, and what is blocking us from abundance is really essentially what we do. Just go and clear it all out. And then we do the practical steps to, okay, now we've cleared that, what do we do to move ourselves forward and bring in that abundance? So it's, as I say, I don't normally go into the curriculum and the modules, and it's just, I've been so very blessed that the women who have come in have just known it's for them. But obviously, if you want some more information, send me a PM and we can do an online chat and chat it through and see if it's for you. But who do you reckon should do the mastermind here?
Everyone. Like everyone. No, honestly, if you have any like just pay attention to the stories that you tell yourself about money, and that will tell you if you need to do the Money Healing Mastermind or not.
I love that. That is so very true. So very true. Actually become that awareness of what's occurring, and the stories, they can be so very, because sometimes we've had them on repeat so many times, we actually don't hear them anymore. They've become so much ingrained in our whole being, we don't actually even hear them. And that's where we start with our pre-work. In fact, the pre-work starts the week before. And part of the pre-work is that realization and that conscious awareness around what is going on in our head, what is going on when we talk, what is going on when we receive a bill, what's going on when we're having conversations with people around money. What happens if someone asks you to go out for dinner? Do you say, oh, I can't afford it? Or instead of just saying, I don't want to, like, where is that? The same with your kids. When the kids say, yeah, can I have that? Oh, we can't afford that. And actually, I just don't want to buy it for you. So just have really, that awareness is such a huge part. And when you start hearing those stories, it's sort of like when you flick that switch. I don't know about you, Kim, when you flick that switch and start having that recognition, you're like, oh my goodness, there's oh my goodness, there's another one.
Yeah. Oh, look, I used to, and mine, I felt like they were so sneaky because they were part of my jokes. Like I made it funny. Like,
yeah,
like that was how, that was my humor. At least I'm funny without them, but
But absolutely, you're so right. And we do, a lot of the time we make that a joke, don't we, about our finances and how we can't afford it and how we're so broken. Oh, they're the lucky ones who can afford. One day if I win the lotto, we have those conversations and that joking side. But when we strip that back, that's just all of our money fears sitting there staring us straight in the face, that we are then, sharing out into the collective as well, and just encouraging the collective's fear around money as well, because let's be honest, there's a lot out there. Like we are surrounded by fear of money, of abundance, of wealth, of being rich, of all of it, and it's time to actually pull that veil off and say, okay, enough, recognize it and decide to make a choice. As I always riff about choice, you get to choose, always.
The biggest part of our truth is that it's all choice.
Every moment. Other questions have come through. Anything else you want to tell us about the mastermind, or anything that you want to just open the floor a little bit? We're nearly 10 to. I've only got a few more minutes, we'll wrap up. So anything else?
Waiting for my kids to run through the door. Look, I think it's just I think we've covered most of what I've loved about this space, but I do want to bring to the conversation how you are as the facilitator. So, I just want to recognize you and acknowledge you for the space that you hold, and with true compassion for it as well. There's this real balance of how you offer your service, and that's by you will not accept anyone's littleness, but you just have this beautiful way of holding people so that then they can meet their fear around money. And you just hold this beautiful container, so it's the right amount of softness with just the right amount of heat as well to be able to to give the prime conditions for everyone who steps into that temple. I want to leave that with you.
Oh, thank you. I so appreciate those words. I really, really do. And I adore facilitating this program, like every fiber of my being. I love it. And as I say, and that's why I teach it, because I believe in not just what I teach, but I believe in every single woman that comes through the doors. Like, I believe she is here for so much more than what she is doing at the moment, and it's got so much bigger potential, and be able to shine her light so much further. And you're right, like if someone's trying to pull the wool over their eyes, I'll call it and I'll tell you. But at the same time, like I lovingly will hold you in that space, because I truly believe, like, you're here to change the world. Don't hide behind your money stories. Come and change the world. Come and make it a better place than what we're in at the moment. And that's my goal. That is what I'm here for, is to leave this world in a better place than what I arrived in it. And with more money, more women with money, and just being able to just, change the world. That's what it's all about.
Beautiful. Chills all over. I love it.
Thank you so much, Kia. I'll just see if anyone else has any questions before we wind up. It has just been absolutely glorious to hang out with you. I just adore you, and I'm so very thankful I got to get to know you in the Money Healing Mastermind. And that's really what also is such a joy to me, the women who get to come through, and we spend a lot of time together. We spend like 2.5 hours a week minimum in the program, and then so we're like, whatever that is, times 13. So we spend a lot of time together, and the group is held in that space. We have our own Facebook group, for each intake has their own Facebook group, and that is your space. That is where you can come and you can share and you can connect. And if you've got a problem or if something surfaced, or if you're needing some assistance or to be held or to be witnessed, like, that is where you get to do it. And yeah, I've just adored having you there. Have you just had your little ones walk in the door?
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah.
Oh, the big ones. Perfect time for us to wind up then.
Yeah.
Thank you again so much, Keir. Thank you everyone for watching. And if you're getting the replay, give us a hashtag replay. And if you've got any questions for Keir and myself, also pop it in there and we will get back to you. Otherwise, we will all see you all really soon. Thank you everyone for catching up and sticking with us, and we'll be back then soon. Bye.
Bye.